Okay, so today we continue with project number 1, but we have now drawing number 3. Okay, we completed drawing number 1, drawing number 2. By now, these two drawings, if you haven't completed them yet, they must be completed during the weekend, and you must start on this. Next week we have drawing number 4. Remember, we have only 1 week for each drawing. After that, we will start model making, so you don't have time to draw during the model making stage. Absolutely no, okay? Just remember this. So, drawing number 3. Isometric drawing for model construction. So, last time we had the orthographic drawing for model construction, and I showed you some examples to have a visual idea of what you were drawing in drawing number 2. Now, in this drawing, we will take drawing number 2 and transfer it to an isometric drawing. So, in the isometric drawing, you will also draw this object, the one with the section cardboards, okay? Okay. The sheet that I posted about isometric drawing, I will cover the rules very quickly again, which we discussed in the past. But if you need further examples, there is this sheet with the rules inside, okay? And also some examples, like some objects drawn in isometric view, real objects. So you can have a look. And also here, more complicated objects, okay? Drawn in isometric view. So just to remember what it was, and also to see the application. Now, isometric drawing, it's one of the technical type of drawing. So it must have accurate measurements. You must have an orthographic drawing completed to do an isometric drawing. And isometric drawing follows very specific rules. So, you have a ground line, you have the first edge, then the other two edges must be at 30 degree. Sometimes the isometric drawing is drawn with 45 degree, but the 30 better, okay? Because all the corners will meet in a more perfect way, and it's more easy to understand. But just so you know, in case you see something online, okay? So this is correct, and the 45 degree also correct. Used for different purposes. So ground line, first edge, the other two edges at 30 degree. All the lines that you will draw in this direction will be at 30 degree and parallel. And all these lines will be parallel to this line, okay? So everything we draw at 30 degree. Now for this you need your T-square and your triangle, the 30, 60, 90. So you will have your T-square, the triangle on top, and you will move T-square triangle up, down, okay? And the triangle left, right, to draw the lines. If you don't use the T-square, some of these lines will get shifted. They will not be parallel. You must use your tools, okay, for this to be perfect. Now, I said the orthographic drawing must be complete before you start this. Why? Because we will take the measurements from here and put them here. So here I just draw something quickly to remind you. So this is, for example, the front view of the mouse in a simplified way. And we have here the bottom view. These two views we need, okay? From here, we can take the height of the mouse, this exact height, okay? You will transfer to here, from here to here, okay? Exactly the same measurement that you have. And we are drawing scale 1:1, just to remind you, okay? Scale 1:1, all the drawings. Okay? That means the real size of the mouse. Okay, so we take the height from here, we transfer it exactly the same height on the paper. I make it bigger so that you can see. But on your paper it must be the same. Okay? So we draw here what? what did we do in the orthographic drawing? We did boxes first. Boxes that fit the views. We do here the same. We draw the box first, then we draw the views. Okay? So, the height of this box, here. The length of this box, you transfer to here. Okay? Now, this line from here to here will be the same like this line from here to here. Because this is isometric. This is not perspective. Okay? Perspective, what happens in perspective when you have two vanishing points? This line will be longer, this one will be shorter, okay? As you go away from your view. In isometric, no matter how much the distance, if this line is 10 centimeter here, it will be 10 here, it will be 10 here, and so on, okay? Great. Okay. So, the length we transfer. The width of the mouse, we take this measurement from the orthographic and we transfer to here. So this will be the length, this will be the width, and this one will be the height. Now, this line, the height, will be the same like this line, the same like this line, the same like this line. Because this is isometric drawing. This is the rule, okay? Now, if you remember last time, the mouse, the model, how is it made? And of course, you have it in in your orthographic drawing. You have a middle piece which is 2 millimeter thick, that follows exactly the outline of the mouse. Now, this middle piece, for this middle piece, we also need to draw. Okay, so this here, from here to here, these two lines, 2 millimeter, okay? And we draw it as a box. Later we will draw the detail. So, at the bottom, this bottom piece, okay, is also 2 millimeter thick. So here I didn't do it, but you need to get up 2 millimeter. All of this must be 2 millimeter up. So, this is supposed to be the cardboard piece at the bottom, because remember, you are drawing this the model that you will be making. So, if you have this 2 millimeter thick at the bottom, you need to draw it here as well. If you have the middle piece 2 millimeter thick, you need to draw it here. Okay? Now, the sections, we will come to it a little later. First, we have this shape. Now in the in the orthographic drawing for model construction, we did what? We had divisions. The section divisions, okay? So we started at the front, 2 millimeter, then 5 millimeter space, then we draw another 2 millimeter, then 5 millimeter space, another 2 millimeter. 5 millimeter space and 2 millimeter, and so on until the end. So these are the section cardboard pieces, each one 2 millimeter thick with 5 millimeter space, okay? Until the end, straight. And I told you to be careful here to keep this straight, okay, very important. Okay, great. So we know the exact number and we know exactly all the details we need to know for each piece. Now we have to transfer over there. Before that, before we do the sections, we transfer the views, the outline of the view. So, what is this outline here? We will draw it where? In the middle. Let me draw it in the middle. The outline, okay, roughly. So, there is a height. Be careful, everything you need to transfer. So, the height from here to here, what is it? You need to transfer here. So, from here to here, for example. Or you can measure from here to here. This is the good thing in isometric. I can measure from here to here, or here, or here. It's the same, okay? The same height. Okay, so until here will be, for example, the height. And then what happened? For example, the mouse go up. So where am I drawing? On the middle surface. Do you see the middle surface? On here I'm drawing, okay? So the mouse go up until which point? So which point here is the highest point that reach the box? Measure from here to here how much? And it should be the same from here to here, okay? So you mark this place and then you connect. So after this point, for example, the mouse starts going backwards into some kind of a curve. It's roughly just an example, okay? But each one of your mouses will be totally different. This is just to understand the steps and the technique, how to approach. Okay. So here we have this. And because we have 2 millimeter thickness, we will draw the view twice, okay? So we will draw the view in 2 millimeter thickness. Let me first see how it looks. Okay, it works. Okay. Okay, so what did we do? We transfer the outline of this view into the middle part of this box, the surface, the middle surface that is 2 millimeter thick. Now I told you last time that this line is very important here, okay? This line where sudden changes happen in the mouse, because not all mouses go smooth. Sometimes you start with curve, then suddenly the mouse change. So the start of this sudden change, you need to leave this line to show, and then to mark. Okay, here start, here, 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 for example. And this line you need to transfer also here. So the start of it where? Measure, transfer here, the same, okay? And make it. I will make it by eye, of course. It's just a sketch here. So from where shall we start? From here, for example. So reminder, okay? Sudden changes, you must mark the start and the finish. Like here, in this mouse, okay? What happened at the top? It's a curve. And then when we reach these points here, suddenly the mouse go inwards, not out, inside. So this we need to know these points, okay? So we need to mark them there so that we can find them here. Because on these points we will make this cardboard, so we will cut them later. So you need to know. Okay. Okay, now the next outline that we need to draw is this outline, okay? The bottom view outline, which is on this surface. So, what does it look like? What are the measurements? Some mouses are pointy at the front, some mouses have straight, some mouses have a little bit of a curve. Depends on your design. Whatever you have here, you transfer here, okay? With the same measurements. So in my case, I have like a straight line here. Straight line. And then I have a radius. There is a start point and an end point of the radius. On the isometric drawing, it has to be from here to here and here to here the same. Because this is isometric drawing. So if they're the same in the real mouse, here it must be the same. Okay? And from this side, it will be the same. So the same starting point from here to here, and from here to here, the end point. Okay? And then what happens? What is the shape? Okay? You continue drawing it. So this surface will, on this surface, you will draw this outline of the bottom view. Okay? We need these two, the bottom and the middle, okay? To start drawing the section pieces from the sides. Okay? From the side, from this side and from this side. If you don't draw the middle and the bottom, it will be very hard to allocate. Where is this located? Because each one is 2 millimeter with 5 millimeter space. Okay, now when we have the two views transferred to here, we start with the sections, with these pieces. Okay, with these pieces. Now here, where did I start? I told you that this is a simplified model of the real mouse. So some students, for example, don't have space to start exactly at the front point. You start a little bit, it's not a big deal, okay? Not a big deal. Or there is a small change here in exactly the starting point of these. Not always you can start at the start, okay? So that's okay. As long as, like this mouse, for example, look, it didn't start here on the start because there is no space, but the middle part shows the outline, okay? So we still understand the shape of the mouse. And because this is a simplification of the real mouse, there will be some small shifts in, so some of the details will not be shown. Like we don't show, for example, where is the location of the wheel, where is the other details. It's simplified, just to show the main shape of this object, so that we can test it. It's a test model. Is it comfortable? Okay, how does it feel in the hand? Is it too small, too big? Is there something wrong with the curves or the lines? It's for testing, okay? Now, we start transferring, but exactly what we have there, here. So if the starting point of my first line is exactly here, this line, I will start here, okay? So, and I will mark, okay, from here to here, 2 millimeter, I count. And I draw. Then I count 5 millimeter. You can do that on this line or on this line to start the same, okay? But start in the middle because more easy later to transfer. Make sure it's exactly correct here. If you make a mistake, it will transfer to the final view later. So, then 2 millimeter, then you leave 5 millimeter space. And then you draw another 2 millimeter. Until where? Until the curve. Until you reach the curve. Then 5 millimeter space. Another 2 millimeter cardboard. Then again 5 millimeter space, another cardboard. Five millimeter space, another 2 millimeter cardboard. Again, the same thing. Please do it with dotted lines, the way I do, because you will have a lot of lines in the drawing. Dotted lines just to indicate start and finish points, okay? Another 5 millimeter space. and another 5 millimeter, and another 5. Okay. Now, be careful, these lines must be perfectly vertical, perfectly. So, according to the ground line or your page, edge must be 90 degree, okay? Following exactly these lines. Very important. Don't shift. Huh? Now, from each of these lines, we will take other lines going in this direction, okay? Touching this curve here. So, if you do this correct, these are just, you don't need to measure, just take, okay? Just draw. Now these must be all at 30 degrees, following these lines, parallel to these lines, okay? Now, after you do this, after you finish this part, now we have to connect. Connect what? Each of these starting point with this. Each of this with this. Each of this with this. Each of this with this, okay? We connect them. Now, we leave it a little more simple at first. So, right now, for example, this line, I did not identify where the location is. So I need to actually identify that it touches this here, here. It touches this here. It touches this at this point, and at this point, and maybe at this point. Okay, but this later. Now we will leave it a smooth curve, and later we will make the modifications. But be careful, not all mouses start with a curve on the top. Depends on your design. Maybe at the top it's a little bit straight, and then we have the curves. If it's a little bit straight, you will start straight and then put down. Just a little simplification. Later you will modify. Okay, so I will connect each of the points with where they touch on this line. So, what continues will not be visible here because of the freehand drawing, but this is enough to illustrate. So what did we do here? We connected each starting point with the starting of this line. Okay, so we have two lines, and each we connect from here to here, from here to here. Now, this line here in the middle view, where there is sudden change of the shape, we need to identify, okay, it's located here on this view, but where is it located on these, okay? So we need to take lines out, the same thing we did here, dotted lines, like here is one of them. So we need to take dotted lines out. Dotted lines, be careful to be exactly parallel to the rest at 30 degrees, okay? So it starts here and ends here. So here on this piece, here is the starting point, for example, of the change of the shape. Then on this next piece, where is it going to be located? Look, this piece here is this piece. Huh? So this point must be located somewhere here. You just take lines out which are parallel to the rest, and you locate where it's going to be located here. Here. And the third piece, again, 30-degree lines out. Where is it going to be located? Here. And to the fourth one as well. Where is it going to be located? You mark. Now, once you take these lines out, parallel to all the object, okay, and the box, then, and you find the touching point, you mark. And then you tell me what change it happened. So you need to modify this line according to what change. So we have something of this type. So from here, touching this, and touching this, okay. So if you're accurate, it will perfectly fit, okay. So this here line, suddenly something happened to this object. So now, is it a corner, like corner? Is it sudden, or is there a radius? Okay. Now, in the first step, I will not care about this. I will not care about the radius. I will make it corner, and if there is a radius, I will add the radiuses later. Okay. So from here, there is a sudden change. So this line here, for example, at this point changes. So what happened to it? Look at the mouse, okay? Look at the measurements from the orthographic drawing. And so this point, for example, go inwards. So this point becomes suddenly like this, for example. From here, we have maybe like this also. Be careful, each of these lines here must be what? At 30 degrees. Whatever here the shape is, must be always 2 millimeters. Don't make it, for example, thin here and go larger. It must be all the way 2 millimeters, so be careful on the drawing. Not here the way my hand drawing looks, okay? Be careful. Then what happened here? Maybe there is a gradual change. Maybe this is not so strong, less strong. Maybe this one is less strong. And this become more strong. Then this one, what happened to it? From this point here, and this one, what happened to it? So, we have lines that suddenly change the shape here at this point, okay? This is 2 millimeter thick cardboard, okay? The same thing with all the lines. Now, we think, we look at the mouse, we look at our drawing, and we say, okay, is this here a corner or a radius? If it's a radius, you need to indicate start, end point of radius, remove this line, and draw 2 lines. You already studied this, okay? So if we have like a line like this, go, and suddenly it becomes like this. And this is here at 30 degrees, another 30 degrees. So this here, if you leave it one line, it's a corner, okay? If it is a radius, meaning have like this, have like this shape, where is the start, where is the end of this radius, okay? And you need to put 1 line, 2 lines, okay? Maybe the radius is big, maybe very small, okay? Not always it is a corner. Sometimes it is a corner, okay, in some mouse. Okay, so this should be the thickness, always 2 millimeter, okay? 2 milli. Don't forget, everywhere where I measure should be 2 millimeter. And you start making this modification, so as you can see, you have a lot of lines now, okay? So be careful, the dotted lines, to keep them dotted so we can differentiate them from the object lines. And these to be the strongest, where we have the cardboard pieces, the cardboard sections to be the strongest. Construction lines, leave them light. Here when we simplify first and then we change, this should be light until you get to the shape you want. It should be very clean drawing, but at the same time we see all the lines. Don't delete anything, okay? Don't delete. Now from the other side you do the same thing, okay? So you will take, once you complete this side, I advise you to complete this side, then the other side, and some of it you will not see. Some of it will be behind, so it's, leave it, don't draw it. But, for example, here we have dotted line, this here and this here. So you have to continue on the other side. This dotted line must continue on the other side. This dotted line, and so on, okay? And then you have to do whatever you did here, the same thing from here. So this line here must touch the starting point of this line, wherever it is. And after 2 millimeter, there is another line. Now this here must be at 30 degrees always. Sorry, this one, not follow the 30 degree, follow the shape, okay? The shape of the mouse, okay? So be careful about that. So let me just imagine there is a shape here, starting from here. You can draw one line that indicates the shape, okay, of the mouse, which is on this surface, just to guide you, okay? And then each of these must reach, the end and follow down and follow this shape here. So this line here, these lines follow the shape of this curve, okay? And then, after you finish that, why we do that? Not to make these lines, for example, shorter or make a mistake with it. After you finish, you have to imagine there is no line here, and then you will transfer these lines to 30 degrees. This line to be 30 degrees, meaning parallel to this line. This line to be 30 degrees parallel to this line. Why do we need to do that? Why do we need to do the 30 degree? Because as we said, we are making a cardboard model. So we are making the sections which are all the same, 2 millimeter, at the same shape, at the weight is here. So we are not making the mouse. If we are making the mouse with all its details, we need the curve, and we need to follow the curve perfectly. But because we are doing the model, we have 30 degree lines here, so we must have 30 degree lines here, because it's the cardboard, okay? And wherever this go down. So you don't need to draw what is not being seen, okay? Okay. Here is just an example from the same student. Now, when you look at these, remember they are student works. So they have small mistakes in them. Every piece have mistakes in them. But it's clean, it's tidy, overall it's correct. I would say 90% correct. So I'm using these as examples, okay? But you can do better, okay? So any questions about what we discussed here, yes?
What if I don't have any shapes in my mouse?
Any shape?
Yeah, at this side. When should I stop drawing?
What do you mean you don't have shapes? Do you have the mouse?
Yeah. Like, I don't have any space right here that I don't need to draw a curve.
Give me the mouse, let me see. I cannot see from this distance. Bring it here. But you have a sudden change. Not sudden, you have a radius. So this radius that starts here, go here, it stops here. Then it becomes straight line down. And then at some point this straight line, it becomes another radius. Okay? So if you want to be really, to have a really good model, the way you cut the cardboard should follow exactly this shape. So this curve, then where it stops at this line, do you see this line? It stops here and it becomes straight. Then at the bottom it becomes again curvy with a radius. So most mouses have some degree of change, but not all mouses have sudden change, like corner, okay? You have sometimes radius, so be careful. Start point of the radius and finish point. And from what I can see, it starts really from the middle here. It's a continuous curve, a continuous radius. Then it suddenly stops here, becomes straight, and then it becomes a curve at the bottom. Okay? Just pay attention as much as you can to the details. Any other questions? So, many of you already have experience a little bit with these drawings, drawing in isometric when you did stapler in the introduction to 3D design. So you have some background, but here you're not drawing the mouse, you're drawing the cardboard model. Okay? So you will use which orthographic drawing? The second one. The orthographic drawing for model construction, where you have all these sections, and what you have here, you transfer here. And remember, you have to end up with the same number. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever number must be the same here, okay? The same. Any other questions? Okay, so this is drawing number 3. Next class, which is next week, we continue with drawing number 4. Okay, thank you.